You are not entitled the right to comment on my videos, nor are you entitled the right to their existence. Now, let me explain what brought that on, why I'm talking about it, and what I mean by that, because that is a fairly loaded statement, and you might not necessarily know where I'm coming from when I first say it. So, some context on the quote-unquote drama. It's not really a drama, because no one really cares, but you know what? I'm stuck in it. I'm stuck having to read your comments. Well, I don't necessarily have to read them, but I'm stuck getting the notifications for the comments, and now I'm going to talk about it. So, on my Scott Pilgrim video, I got this comment referencing a specific moment in the video, and they start this discussion about the arbitrariness of the age of consent. Now, the comment is bringing age of consent into the equation when nothing in the show nor the video really demanded that that specific discussion be had. It felt very random and aside from the point, but it was phrased not as an aside and not as a random tangent, but as a disagreement with some of my core points in the video. And so I made a video on this channel about how I thought that comment was kinda silly. However, in a twist of Shakespearean irony, the comments on that video, the second channel video, were almost exclusively debating the age of consent, even though the entire point of the video, in my eyes, was to say, isn't it funny how this comment is talking about the age of consent in a video that it had nothing to do with? Now, there were a few things that frustrated me about this comment section. First of all, it was not a discussion I wanted to have per se, but second of all, people would phrase comments as if they were disagreeing with me, but they were debating the age of consent. They would, what I can only assume for a lot of them, they would see the comment on screen, because the comment itself was the single still image I had on screen for that video. And they'd see that comment, assume that I would spend the 8 minutes of the video disagreeing with its points, when the actuality of the video is I was disagreeing with the fact that it was made to begin with. I was saying, why did you say that? It doesn't make sense within the context of the original video. And so, without watching the video, they'd comment as if they were disagreeing with me. Except, because they haven't seen the video, they're disagreeing with me on an argument I never made. And this isn't all of them. This isn't even all the people who were talking about the age of consent. I know some of them did watch the video, but were adamant that the discussion was in fact relevant. But for a lot of people, it felt like they just hadn't seen the video. They would send these giant paragraph-long essays. But the thing that finally broke me about the video's comments section was that it was starting to gain traction in the algorithm. Except, okay, so the way the algorithm works on YouTube is they find a group of people who are most likely to watch the video to the end. And the group of people that YouTube's algorithm decided would most like the video is the group of people most likely to misunderstand the video. The people who hadn't seen the original Scott Pilgrim video and who don't know the context of the original comment. And even though I do briefly explain the context of it in the video itself, I really made it for people who had already seen the video. I see this channel as a repository for all the side content that my main channel fans would enjoy, but don't expect anyone to necessarily enjoy this content without also liking the main channel videos. Now, as time goes on, this channel is beginning to gain an audience of its own, which is a weird thing that I might make another video about in the future, because I am uploading more often here. But, in short, that's not really the point of the channel the way I see it. And so, I made this video expecting people to have seen the original, but then the commenters hadn't seen the original, and it just made me more and more frustrated, so I was like, you know what? I am taking the video offline. It is now private, as I am recording this. And it's not necessarily to run away from what I said, because I still do stand by it. But I just didn't like the discussion it was having, and I didn't like the fact that it was blowing up in the algorithm. And by blowing up, I mean it got a few hundred views. It really isn't that many, but I just didn't like the fact that it was getting viewed at all, by people who didn't have the requisite knowledge to understand it, or the willingness to understand it. Once again, not all, but some. However, upon privating that video, I uploaded a new video, and this one is pretty tame by comparison, doesn't even mention anything as controversial as the age of consent, but one of the commenters on that video was from the weird comment video. And he was like, yo, why did you private the main channel video? Is it because your point sucked? Or is it because, you know, you were just afraid of people disagreeing with you, yada yada. So I explain essentially what I just explained to the commenter. And he then asserts that that basically I am anti-intellectual, despite making a video going against anti-intellectualism, because I removed this video where people were having an intellectual discourse, thereby ripping away their ability to talk about this thing on your channel. And I'm a coward, I'm a liar. They said I was lying in some of my responses, which after a certain point I just stopped responding to them. And so I basically screen capped the original comment. Well, no, I didn't screen cap it. Someone else did, and I replied to that basically saying, this dude's a loon. He's asserting all sorts of crazy shit about me. But shockingly enough, someone in my server, who is actually a friend of mine, halfway sided with him in the sense that he thought it was rude of me to rip away this platform that people were having this discussion on. He did not go so far, my friends that is, to say that I am anti-intellectual in doing so. He disagreed with the replier on that, but he did say it was not courteous of me. And I'm not using his exact wording, because that would be paragraphs long. I am, you know, letting a bit of nuance fly, so just acknowledge, like, just have that be known that, yeah, I'm paraphrasing all of this. There's a lot of specifics that I just won't go into for time's sake, but that's the gist of it. That took 7.5 minutes to explain, but now we're finally at the point, which is, I severely disagree with all that is being said in this discussion about me taking down the video. And furthermore, it confuses me, really, the fact that people are going against it so hard. Because I did used to have this idea in my head that if you, basically, you need to keep comments up, you need to keep likes enabled, and by doing the opposite of that, by taking down videos, you are taking down evidence of you being wrong, or you're ripping away freedom of speech from people who are just trying to have an open platform. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that these people even necessarily agree with that sentiment, because I really don't want to strawman anyone here. But what I'm saying is, that's what I used to believe, and so I have some window into the mindset of thinking that it is cowardly or anti-intellectual to take down a video. But here's my outlook on it. I don't think that you are obligated to have any of my videos remain online. I don't think you are obligated to be able to comment on them. I don't think you are obligated to have the right to talk in my Discord server. I mean, it is patron only, but I will literally ban people from my server just because they're annoying and because I don't like them. That's something I've done before, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. I have this mentality that I make my channel for me, and for me to have as much fun with it as possible. Now, obviously, I want it to be a career, and furthermore, I want people to be able to see them so that I can facilitate having that career, and so that I can see people respond to my art, because I like it when people like, or even just discuss the things I make, at the very least the kinds of discussions that I like having. And this person who's commenting, oh, I just hate people disagreeing with me, Well, I know for a fact he doesn't watch my main channel videos, because he came into my channel from the anti-intellectualism video, which is what I mean when I say that this channel is beginning to have a separate audience from my main channel. But if you're aware of my main channel's existence, then you know that that can't be the case, because I leave comments up that disagree with me all the time. If I really just didn't like people disagreeing with me, I'd have to delete a hell of a lot of comments. It would take fucking forever. And I just leave them up, because those are discussions I'm willing to have. I like talking about anime, and even if I don't necessarily reply to a comment that I disagree with, I'm still having that discussion in my head. I'm still refuting it in my head and taking in what they're saying as honestly as I can based on the comment and its wording. But I also see this channel really as my place to read all the comments, because my main channel often gets too many comments to read them all. And so I try my best to read all of them here. And by having that video blow up and have this discussion, you know, maybe you can say, oh, you should have just stopped reading them. And maybe I should have. But I also don't see the issue with privating the video to begin with. I don't see it as rude or anything like that, because the way I read and consume content online and watch videos is that I see it all as transient. I see all YouTube videos as just waiting to be taken down for one reason or another. And that's why archival exists. I am a big fan of archival. I think you should be able to archive everything before it is gone. You have that right. And if someone downloaded my not anti-intellectual video, but the weird comment I got video, if someone archived that and re-uploaded it, listen, I would have no issues with it. If someone archived the comments section, don't care. But I also don't see the general public as obligated to have access to it. Because at the end of the day, it's my channel, and I'm curating it to my experience. And to those of you who think I have an obligation to keep it up, why are you forcing your will on me to keep the video up when I don't want it up anymore? When I just don't want it to... that I'm frustrated, really, with it getting outside its target audience and being continually misunderstood. And by having this discussion that, sure, maybe I should have anticipated, but that I didn't want to have nor want to see. I don't think you are obligated to have that to begin with, and I think it is awfully entitled to expect me to keep every video I ever make up to the public to see. Because I take down videos, not necessarily frequently, but I've done it multiple times before, either because I disagree with it, or because I said something that I don't want people to see that I think is bad, or that I don't agree with anymore. Or really, just for a multitude of reasons. Maybe I just think it's embarrassing. I don't know. And I don't see any issue with that, because it's my channel, and the way that I consume content online, I don't expect it to be up forever. I expect it to be archived, maybe, and I think we should, once again, try to archive everything. But I don't think I have a right to be able to consume that content forever, that at some point, it will be gone, and that any reason that the original uploader sees fit, it can be removed, because it's their video, and they have control over whether it is seen or not. And see, this is the thing that confuses me. We are given these tools as creators to turn off comments and turn off likes and delete the entire video. And so I don't get how people watch videos not expecting some creators to use those tools. But instead, some people feel obligated to be able to watch them forever. And like I've said over and over again, I don't agree with that. I don't think you are entitled to it. I don't think it's an affront to freedom of speech that I take it down. I don't think it's cowardly on my end to remove a video because I didn't like the discussion on it. And I really think that a lot of the people who are making these points against me just, you know, maybe they don't understand where I'm coming from, which is part of why I made this video, but maybe they just disagree with me so holistically in their worldview that it takes this video to convince them to my side, or at the very least, be able to see where I'm coming from. And maybe this just doesn't convince anyone at all. I don't know, but I wanted, at the very least, for my thoughts to be out there. That's about it. See ya.